I'm not about feminism at all. I've been anti-feminist since high school because it's really destroyed dating and getting married and having kids.
Today in the press and on the radio, the American career girl, married or single, is a favorite subject for discussion.
What's good, y'all? So I wanted to talk about something different today. Now, for tomorrow's video, if possible, I will be covering my thoughts about the documentary with the whole Diddy stuff, because that shit, 50 Cent is the most pettiest man alive, the petty king, the legendary petty king, from what a lot of people are saying. So hopefully, but stay tuned, right? And as always, subscribe to Third Street if you like the content around here. But for today's video and topic, I kind of wanted to talk about, I guess, like everything that's going on right now, I guess, with like women, right? Because you have like a lot of people out there, who's like, oh man, women is this, women is that, and everybody got their own perspective or how they feel about women and the red pill and well, I mean, red pill is basically dead now because that group died a long time ago, and it's good that it actually died, because here's the thing. They had some good talking points about the whole men should be strong, men should focus on themselves, right? But there was one particular person, and too bad he's not around anymore, but he made a good argument. He said, okay, even if you are focusing on yourself, which you should, as a man, you should focus on yourself and work on the things that you need to work on, like get back in the gym, exercise, right? Work on your community and stay with your friends, right? All of that's good. But see, here's the thing. At the end of the day, who you gonna be playing with? like we men have urges, you see. So if you sitting here and you're not blasting on anybody else, then you're blasting on yourself. And I don't think you want to blast on yourself. I don't think so. I think you would want a capable partner to want to help you with those types of urges and needs, don't you think? But here's the thing. It's just that you have a lot of misinformation out there, and you still do with certain content creators and people out there who's in the space of so-called helping men, but in reality they are destroying the men of telling them that the wrong information. Now, I will say this when it comes down to, I guess, evolution, right? Because we're gonna the main focus points is evolution, about how society changed and about how the culture changed, right? And I'm gonna tell you at the end of the video on what you should probably do, right? Because you go back to how it was in the early stages of the 1920s and how it was back in the days where it was the whole, the men go to work, right, and the woman stay home and she cooks and cleans and she take care of the kids, right? But then you had a time where you had feminism who came about, and they said, well, there was women out there who didn't want that, and it was fighting against that ideal of, why should the man take care of the woman when the women should have the right to vote, the woman should have the right to do certain things. Now, there was some things that came out of the whole feminist movement where there were women that were capable of doing, incredible things. They created things, right? The battle of the sexes of the whole thing that happened, I think, in the 60s, where it was a woman beating a guy at tennis because they thought, well, no woman could beat a man at tennis, and it was the whole battle of the sexes thing, and basically she beat the man, right? And there was some proven things throughout history where women can be capable of doing certain things even better than the man, right? Now, it gets crazy in the future because when you think about all of the things that I just said, all of that was progress, all of that was evolution. Don't you think that if some of these norms was never changed or brought about, they would have remained the same? Like, little things that happen in the past rippled in the future where it's still applying till this day. And a lot of people may not understand what I mean, but it's all about change, because if you keep things the same as what a lot of people wishing and wanting, right, you will not get progression. You will not get anything interesting or entertaining if you keep things the same, right? So when you've had that happen in the past, right, and obviously there was a lot of factors and key pointers that made those decisions come true, and you have it in a way where now you have people out there who's going, well, I wish those things was never the same. Now, granted, you still have it where people who wants to like take care of their kids and they want to be stay-at-home moms, that's fine. You will still have those women out there who want to do that, but then you still have women out there who say, you know what, I want to work and I want to have my own money, but then at the same time they also, want a good partner and they want a good man, right? And again, I'm not saying all women are horrible or they bastards and they this and that. I'm not saying any of that, right? I'm just saying that change happened. Change happened, and I think there's going to be more change to come in the future where there's going to be something more that's going to happen, and it may be for the worse or it might be something great and positive. Because okay, let's talk about today, the man stuff, that man shit, right? Where you have a, what they call it, a male loneliness epidemic, I guess what they call it, right? Where most guys is either by themselves or they not interacting with women like that. Now, you could look at it in two ways, right? You could look at it in a way of, there are a lot of dudes out there, and boy, oh boy, I was out there in them clubs and those nightclub scenes where dudes out there didn't know how to talk or interact with women like that. Because granted, most people who've lived throughout the internet days, they've only spent majority of their time on the internet. And also too, you've had it in a way where a lot of guys out there was never taught. They didn't have like good mentors or maybe father figures in their life to teach them the game of, talking to a woman, how to coerce a woman, right? They was never taught. So you have that factor, and then you have the other factor of guys just are burnt out, and if they are with a woman, the chances are she may not be interested in him, right? Or there could be charges put on him, false allegations, because that does happen, right? So it could be in a way of, man, like if I'm with her, it might be something a short term, and they really want something long term, right? Of maybe the whole marriage, maybe the kids, maybe they want the whole thing, but maybe the woman is not she's not vetted enough to be in that position of being a mother material or a wife material, and she kind of want to be promiscuous, right? You do have that, right? But here's the thing. Um in the future, that what's going to come, there's going to be change. There's going to be change that's going to come, and unfortunately for the people right now who is expecting that, that's not going to happen now. That's not going to happen now for change to come, like, oh, okay, maybe this and that. No, because right now with the whole male loneliness epidemic, you're going to have like a whole bunch of guys for now that's going to, still remain to themselves, and at the same time you have women out there who is, trying to find a good guy out there. But majority of the women that's wanting 6'2", 265 pounds, raw man, 12 inches and up, making millions and billions of dollars every year, still talking crazy, right? Sucking a lollipop in their mouth, right? Talking ridiculous, is still going to be out there asking for those ridiculous things, right? And then at the same time, you do have the women out there, the good women, not all of them, like I said, not all of them. You have the good women out there who's also sort of taking the heat, because if the guys are turning their back and they're like, nah, man, I'm not interested, they also getting hurt too, because they're like, well, shit, even though I'm a nice woman and shit like that, but this man who I like, he's like, he's fucking checking out on me. Like, he's checking out. So you do have that, but it goes back to what I said before. It's about change. It was about things that happen, and the ripple effect of what happened in the past is happening in the future. Now, granted, you had a lot of stuff that happened over the time. You had the government that was also manipulating things behind the scenes. You had the music, you had the culture, everything sort of changed. Nothing remained the same. You go back to how it was in the 40s, of how the music was, right? And then as it slowly progressed throughout history, where it was that old school music, then it was the Motown in the 60s, and then, well, jazz, no wait, old school music, Motown, jazz, rap, R&B, like all of that stuff basically changed throughout the times, and it just kept on going and going and going with the music and then the culture. And then as the music and the culture changed, so did the women. And then the women was also learning, like, wait, I don't want no scrub. What? You need to be this, you need to be that. Because remember, before all this YouTube and all this other shit, right, it was either you need to be a doctor, a lawyer, right, in order for you to get them. Because if you was a janitor, it was like, no, right? If you was a teacher, yeah, sure, because teachers make some good money. So it's like, sure. But if you're none of those things that's qualified, no, they wasn't looking at you. And then today's standards, it's like, you got to be an entrepreneur. You got to be a millionaire. You got to be a billionaire. You got to be 6'2". You got to be 12 inches. You got to be all of these things in order for you to like acquire some of these women, right? And that's the thing that sort of kind of like discouraging some of these guys to go, you know what, fuck this. I'm not even gonna try. Like, I'm not even gonna try to approach you because of this is who you are. Like, I don't even want no part of you. Right. And this is exactly why you have some guys out there who's already checking out. And then some of these women out there who are in a situation themselves where they're like, well, if you don't want me, you don't want me. But then as soon as when 40, 50, 60 come up, they be asking that same question, where all the good men at? But it's like, you see, because you've rejected some of these good guys who was willing and who was open for some of these millionaires who don't want nothing to do with you, just going to use you for a little while and then discard you. But it's just that right now I would say everything is in an influx and is at a stop at this point, because some men is not looking for women like that. And there are women out there who still talking ridiculous and stupid. Now, granted, you could look at it as an internet thing, right? You could look at it as an internet thing, like, oh, this is only being said throughout the internet, and there's not much proof on the outside, right? You could look at it that way too, because I have a few friends out there who has no problem like pulling women, going on dates with women, right, and being in relationships with women, right? So you have to look into account too of how much is it really internet based and how much it is reality based. Because a lot of people say, "Oh yeah, it's bad out here," but then you seeing friends out there who's like, "Yeah, bro, I just got sucked off last week." Word? Yeah, man, I just got sucked off. And then you hearing stories about certain things. Because I'm gonna tell you a little story. Because years ago, when I was first getting into the whole club business and getting out there, right? At the time, because I was listening to so much of this rhetoric of, women this and women that, and I was just like, nah, this shit might be true. As soon as I got out there, I said, what the fuck? Like, my little virgin eyes was like, huh? Oh, shit. Oh, oh, wow. Twerking on me? What the hell? I thought you hated men. Oh, this is great. Oh, kissing? Ooh. I was just so surprised. I was so surprised because I'm like, wait, what? Now, granted, I did see a little some shit in there. Not anything to do with me, but I saw some shit in there. I was like, ooh, this is kind of crazy. This is kind of crazy. But some of the things you have to take with a pinch of salt of going reality based and internet based, like, how much stuff can you actually believe of what people are saying on the internet compared to your own life and what you currently see out there? Now, granted, there's probably people out there who do see certain things out there of, maybe their best friend or maybe a female friend, right, going through something similar to what is being portrayed on the internet of how it is, right? And like I said before, you have to look at it in a way of shit ain't happening right now. Unfortunately, you have a lot of fine females out there, right? And you have a lot of handsome dudes out there. And unfortunately, they're not going to be able to get with each other like how it was in the previous time, right? Because when you look at the birth rates of how not that many people is even having kids, not that many people is getting into relationships like that, not that many people is getting married, right? It's very low compared to how it was back in the 60s, the 50s, 40s, right? When everything was really high. Because I think in 2003, I think it was either the percentages was either 30, no, 40 or 60%. I could be so wrong, right? Somebody can fact check me on that, but I think it was like either 40 or 60% back in 2003. I think when marriages rate was like really high at the time. But it's just that now, not that many people's doing that these days. Not that many people. And it's starting to become more rare and rare for anybody to want to even get into a relationship anymore. Now, the sad part is you do have some things that's been happening where some self-deletion of the whole being lonely, being depressed, not having anybody, right? And it's sad. It's really sad on both sides, because now I will say this too. Both sides is not really innocent, because everybody blames the women. Oh, it's the women. But you got to take some men into accountability too, because come on, how many times you've been cheating, beating, and doing all this weird shit to them? And then this is why you have some type of a pushback with the women, because sometimes some of these dudes is on some bullshit. So it's both sides is bad. Both sides is bad, because I know everybody wants to blame the women. Oh, it's the women for fucking bitch. Like, they always want to blame them, but you gotta look at the man too. Like, look what you did, right? If some guys wasn't on that fucking shit and they wasn't on that type of timing, maybe things would be a lot better. And same with the women. If the women wasn't on that scheming timing, then maybe shit would be better. But everybody has personal demons in their life that they would bring into the relationship. Either it has something to do with family or friends, and they would bring those personal demons into the relationship, and it would cause that relationship to end. It's like a virus. They bring that virus into the relationship, everybody gets infected and everybody dies. That's what it really is with both sides of the party. But now I will say this to close out the video. So what I will say this to like a lot of on the guy side is just like everybody else said, focus on yourself, right? Go to the gym, have good friends in your life, work on the community that you build with people. Um, it's nothing wrong with paying for box, pay for box, right? Be smart about it. Don't be stupid, right? And be smart. Just be smart about your choice and your selection of choice, and don't be an idiot, right? And you should be fine. You should actually be fine. Now, if you want to take it a step further, right? Maybe get into God, maybe get into some religion, get into something that, if you're a person of spiritual faith, maybe get into that, maybe focus more onto that, right? So that way it can, build you up even more, right? If you are a spiritual person, I say that. That's the only two advices I would tell people that they should really do. Now I know people might say, "No, man, paying for boxes it's for lames." Okay, dummy. So who you gonna be blasting nuts on? Now, if you're a person who is good at your words, right? Then you do that. Also, too, focus on your word game. Focus on learning how to talk to women and courting women, right? Because the whole of going outside, going to a park or a beach, right? You can still do that, and you can also talk to women that way as well, rather than going on these social media apps, because that was also a thing. Because being on Hinge and Tinder, and again, that was fine for a time, but then that shit ain't. I don't know about now. I mean, it's rare to find something that you like and somebody who will be with you. Because I mean, you've heard some stories about like the whole online dating game is like a hit or a miss, which is still happening. But I would say don't focus on that too much. I just say just go outside more, work on your word game or talking to women, right? um Sometimes if you got to pay for that box, pay for that box. There's no shame in no game, just pay for that box, right? But if you're more of a religious type and you want to focus on your faith, then you focus on that as well, right? And then you should be fine. You should be fine, and try to not have that get to you as much of, oh man, I'm certain age and I don't have this. Nah, man, that's negative. Get that negative shit out your brain and just focus on the things that matters towards you. And then maybe down the line, if something comes your way, right, and y'all both vet each other out, and the fucking check clears, hey man, cash that check, man, and then hopefully y'all can make that life work, and you can make things work. But if not, just focus on the things that you need to focus on. Pay for that box if you need to, or if not, focus on your faith, right? That's what I'm telling people, just to do that, and you should be fine. You should be fine, and build up your mental, build up your spiritual, right? You'll be good. But don't allow negativity to get to your brain. Don't allow these people that say, well, you will lose if you don't have this and that in your life. Cut those people out, because they cancer. They're only gonna spread that virus and that negativity towards you that will lead to either self-deletion or more depression and lonely. Get that shit out your brain, right? Just focus on the things that you need to focus on, and you should be fine. You should absolutely be fine. But yeah, I think that pretty much covers my ideas of what I think should probably happen to majority of the guys out there. Unfortunately for the women, only thing I can tell some of y'all, not all of y'all gotta change y'all ways, man. Y'all gotta change y'all ways, because if y'all don't change y'all ways, I mean, I don't know. Y'all gonna suffer the most if y'all don't change y'all ways. But as always, subscribe to Third Street, and I catch you all in the next one.